Welcome, everyone. This is a reading of the book Vagrein, Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, channeled by J.P. Herman. Vagrein, Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins. Chapter 1, Where to Begin. It's the perfect illusion and challenge, to be thrust into a space that you call reality with such a profound level of forgetting of the simple understandings of all there is, in favor of the possibility of creating, with free will, a new light to shine into the infinity, a new version of everything. You. Welcome to being human. There are no guidebooks, and yet a lot of books for sure, from your religious scriptures to your fiction to the beautiful drawings on cave walls or tree pulp. You're storytellers and you are telling yourself the same stories over and over again. But you don't read between the lines. You're literal, literally literal. You hear words and forget that they are vibrations floating through the space of nothingness. You forget that they are marks on paper, some which absorb the light and some which do not. You are not able, as we are, to see or read past the words themselves and get the full transmission or the author of the storyteller. It is a limit, but one you can overcome. When you hear and see, listen and look for the energy between the words and the layers upon them, remember too that the authors themselves are often crippled by their own beliefs in communicating freely and in sourcing the truth of their own stories. It is wise to stop taking words so literally. Read through this text with your heart and your ears as much as you do with your mind and your eyes, and you will understand. You may ask, what is there to do? There is nothing you must do. Creation loves the fool and the wise man, and they are often one and the same. Creation loves the sinner and the saint, for they too are the same. There can be no one and no thing that is not, in its full being, everything, all at the same time. There's no right and wrong, there's only isness. So why the instructions? Why the communication and the push towards waking the sleeping children? Because you're ready. If you choose to be, you are ready. You're ready to let go of suffering completely, ready to become pure freedom, ready to remember what you've known all along, that you came here for the sole purpose of choosing whether or not you preferred the light or the dark. There are many of you now fully matured and blossom and ready to accept the responsibility of the choices that you've been making all along, but were unaware of. You're ready to become the creators, to choose instead of accepting as a default. There's enough faith now, enough clarity for you to stand up and say, okay, this has taught me what I need to know, but it's time to move on. It's time to move forward. Time to become everything I want to be. Here, now, in this incarnation, with this reality, in this beauty. Vagrein, September 8th, 2016. How to use this book. The first thing you should know is that I'm taking guidance on writing this book from a non-human, non-physical energy source. If you are unfamiliar with the concept of channeling, luckily there's an entire section in this book dedicated to it. I believe that will lead to the most accurate representation of what wants to come through. This book has been written in collaboration with the non-physical entity group, allowing themselves to be known as Vagrein. Throughout this book, you'll be reading passages by myself, the author, and channel, and those of the entity group. To distinguish between the two, we have chosen to present the text that is written by myself as an italicized font, and those of the entity group in regular characters. The footnotes you will find in this book have also been added both by myself and the entity group and represent the same formatting. At times, you will come across words presented in bold text. These are either used for emphasis or described further at the end of the book in the glossary section. Much of the content is derived from live channeling sessions occurring between July and December of 2019. The rest of the content has been channeled and written in 2020 or from earlier written transmissions that arrived between 2016 and 2018. The book has been divided into themed chapters to make it easier for you to reference the wisdom on specific topics. Much of the content spans multiple topics, but I have endeavored to keep things as organized and as simple as possible. One suggestion is to read the text slower than you would read other informational volumes, with particular attention to channeled elements. Each word has been chosen by Vagrein in the specific order that they appear here in print, and their way of conveying information is very clear, even if the language at times is not what we are accustomed to. Often they choose words that have double or triple meanings upon deeper examination and pondering. Allow yourself the time to soak in these multiple meanings in full. As channeled material is inherently nonverbal and then transmitted via the human brain, I have found the entity group to be very creative in coming up with connections that we humans would not normally come up with, and even, at times, creating new words which convey concepts more fully than could have been done otherwise. Behind each word is also the corresponding energy transmission, so again, go slow and allow yourself time to absorb what is written. If at any time you sense sleepiness or fogginess while reading, put down the book to absorb the information packet that is being delivered to you and pick it up again later. Vagrein has informed me that your action and intention to read this book is equivalent to consenting to completely and effortlessly integrate and embody the knowing within it. Please note that none of the information in this book is intended as gospel in any way. What has been offered and provided in this volume is the opportunity to choose what resonates for you and the possibility to apply it to your own life. Vagrein has never claimed to be anything greater than human or above us in any way. Deification or idolization is not encouraged at all, nor is the discussion, debate, or reinterpretation of their words for any means other than personal understanding. What is being offered through this contact is not up for speculation or reading into in order to determine its meaning. In human history, there have been countless incidents of pure information being confused and altered as one attempts to understand it, often to the detriment of the clear message beneath it. What one must remember while reading this work is that you are the ultimate authority, creator, and chooser of your life experience. Adopt whatever understandings feel right for you, but do not give importance to their source. What is transmitted here and what you choose to embrace will doubtlessly create connections for you relevant to your own journey and therefore needs no further interpretation by the mind. You will know you have understood when you know you have understood. As a channel, author, and being walking alongside you on this planet for a time, my intention is to share what may or may not be serving you through the gifts that I have been granted. The ultimate discernment for how to use this information will then be up to you. Vagrein suggests the following methods for getting the most out of your reading experience. There will be no way to get through this book you are about to read without some form of suspended belief. By this, we ask you, for the duration of reading this text, to endeavor to hold off on applying what you think to be true in your mind, much like you would should you be reading a work of fiction. We do not ask you to believe what it is that we are about to recount, but simply to feel into our words and this information in a very neutral and relaxed way. What is true for you will remain. What is not true for you will continue down the stream of collective consciousness, and therefore it is of no consequence for you to hear it. There is never any need for resistance when one knows one's truth. This book will help point you in the direction of yours. Our human co-author was under the impression and idea that it would be better for her to write this introduction and ease you into the knowing of the source of the materials as you are about to read. However, we know that you are eager and ready to hear what we would say to you, and further delay is simply a form of manipulation that would be in place only to make you more comfortable. There is nothing wrong with discomfort. It is the fertile soil of growth. Herein, we compile some of the information that we have shared with you so far in our verbal and written channeling sessions in a more digestible format, organized by category and functionality within one's life. The secondary scope of this particular work is to highlight the new form of relationship that is being made available to you as humans on this planet at this time. There is the potential for collaboration with beings that are non-physical, such as we, through the act of intending and allowing this type of relationship. We are asking the vessel, your narrator, to write part of the book from her perspective, showing her experiences in the form, story of how our relationship with her came to be and continues to be. There will be those of you who are reading this work who choose upon completion to allow their own communication to begin with higher levels of consciousness. This choice will guide you to a place of understanding self so as to be able to be oneself in service to all, to be what you came here to be. Up until now, most channeled work has been delivered in a very formal format, with the information being treated as sterile. We have noticed during our sessions with you that there is still some form of discomfort when talking with us. We understand that it is due in part to the delivery of the words, the lack of inflection, or the lack of eye contact. We are currently working to improve our personability. There are also slight differences in our use of your language to which you are not accustomed. Not all of the information that we are transmitting is being translated into your language. Much of what we have sent in the past is nonverbal or telepathic, and you may, in your waking state, access it by releasing the resistance you hold in order to not have access to this information. Presently, our communication is the equivalent of your Morse code system, and as you evolve in your receptivity, so will the system by which we communicate. We continue to emphasize these points because of your continued doubt, and it is our attempt to tranquilize and rebalance this perception that leads you to an emotional state of doubt. For this state is of a lower vibratory level and lengthens the process unnecessarily. A stigma surrounds channeling and channeled material even amongst those of you who are open-minded. There's confusion that through this format, one is talking to something outside of or higher than their own state of consciousness. We are not outside of you. We are not higher than your consciousness. All is possible and all is available and all is on its way. All of you. For many of you, this is the first contact you will have with non-physical or extraterrestrial examples of the consciousness in forms you deem intelligent. All forms of intelligence are likewise non-external from you. Ultimately, you will understand that there is no external intelligence. This vast nature and variety of your internal intelligence will reveal itself once your positioning of self shifts to what you truly are. Humanity now shifts towards the many contacts with other forms of consciousness. It is already happening all around you. As more of you become open to contact with other beings, there will be more and more opportunities to have such contact and to understand the nature of the waltz you engage in. All this will be directly related to your choice to have this contact, your free will. We are speaking first of channeling and telepathic communication in general, but in time, physical manifestations and new realities will appear for you. However, before you imagine spaceships landing in your front yard, know that those of you who are open and willing will not be exposed to such a sudden shock. You will have your first contacts with other forms of consciousness, we being one of them. You will understand what it is about to happen before it happens, and you will be prepared to be the ground team for that reality, if and when you choose for it to be your reality. Then, when that contact manifests in a more seeming dramatic way, you will not be surprised or shocked, but simply know you are ready and open for the new adventure in interacting with more of yourself. These contacts will be conscious, unconscious, or semi-conscious, and are occurring right now. The words you're reading are your current accepted form of first contact. Know that there is more to come. Your contact is already underway, and all of you are what you call channeling in your own specific fashion. This is the first contact. Your understanding of unity and forgetting of separation is allowing for a thinning of your experiential atmosphere. It is only a belief in separation that forces other beings into physical form and onto spacecraft. Often, these are concessions made for you to be able to accept the reality of their presence and of which they themselves truly have no necessity for. There will be those, if you choose for there to be, who are not as prepared for direct five-sense experiences with what you now perceive of as other consciousness. These beings will find themselves in a state of shock as more of humanity's potential future reality is revealed to you. Having prepared yourself with previous non-physical contacts in this way will allow you to aid in their process of the new phenomena. The propensity towards separation is still so strong in your primal psyche. The more untangled and forgotten this confusion becomes, the easier the passage will be. You will be able to help them because you will know that all is one.